from the people that brought you Waco and Ruby Ridge, we've got a tentative explanation. I don't know about you, but I don't believe it. And to that end, the biggest problem we have is a lack of verifiable information. Now, in my mind, the solution to that is to create a community watch program. And what that would entail is, in your normal travels around the valley, if you're out hunting or you're just joyriding or whatever, you need to be prepared to document, to record, to video what you see so that it's provable. I'll give you an example. This is a little case that I made up, and I want to give you some ideas about what you could carry in such a case. Most of you already know and do a lot of this. First thing, obviously, you want is a pair of binoculars, something that's lets you see for a long ways and you can scope things out. And they even make these now that have digital cameras put right on them. Now, I don't have one. I've got a marine binocular that's really good. It's got a rangefinder in it. It's got a compass built in. When you're looking through it, you can see the compass. You know exactly the degrees that you're looking at. Okay, there might be some things in this case you might not have thought about. Carry it.
Paul, is it night vision binoculars too? Or just
You can do that, but I don't know that that's really necessary. If you can afford night vision, go for it.
It is for me because I'm calling off and we're going back and forth and saying I'm seeing this and this and this.
Okay, always carry some little booklet or like a log that you can document stuff. Carry that with you so you can make notes. Always carry a cell phone and a phone book in case you've got to get a hold of somebody in a tight situation. You get in trouble looking, you're doing too much looking. Okay? Your cell phone is just the first line of defense. But if you have a cell phone with a camera in it and you can upload to the internet immediately, boy, does that take the pressure off. Because, you know, these guys, if they don't like to be exposed, they can try to confiscate a video camera. But if you're uploading live to the internet, they're done. It's a matter of record the minute the picture is shot. Okay, so that's a good way to go. And then what about keep track of exactly where you're at? Nick lent me this. It's a GPS unit. You turn it on and you let it find some satellites, and then you document the latitude and longitude and elevation and the time. And you create waypoints in this little goodie, and it will tell you exactly where you saw what. And you keep notes in your little book while you're doing it. Okay, so there's another way. Now what if the power goes out? What if they throw a wideband carrier down across most of the local communications? Well, they're not going to shut off the cops, unless the cops are on our side. We hope they are. I invited the sheriff to this meeting, didn't get a call back from him. Left the word with his secretary and so on. He never even bothered to call me back. Okay? So, the next thing you want to do is you want to have some kind of a digital camera with you. I'm going to turn this one on and pass it around the audience. And this is just an example of what you can do with one of these. If you'll look at this picture on here, try not to push any buttons. This is an L-shaped insignia that is painted on the county road up by the border. And it's white with a black outline around it, which is standard procedure for trying to make something visible from the air. And in the center here, the little corner of the L, it's got a steel stake driven into the pavement with some identifying marks on it. Nick and I stopped up and looked at it. I'm not saying that this is anything sinister, but I'm saying that you should have a digital camera with you to document this kind of stuff when you see it. Okay, another thing you could put in a grab bag. Let's say you have this sitting by your door somewhere, and if you hear about something, or anytime you go out and about, you just grab that bag and take it with you. I'd like to talk a little bit about radio communication, because this is something I've been involved in for 30 years. This little radio right here is a dual band amateur transceiver, and it's got some pretty interesting capabilities. Let me get to the right channel. Now let me key up. Now keep in mind, this is only putting out 3 watts of RF power. That was the King repeater, 26 miles from here, I'm thinking. I can talk through that repeater, and that repeater will talk to Kalispell, it'll talk to Bonners Ferry, Idaho, on a logging channel. Okay? Just to give you an idea of what can be done with radio, the amateurs also have a 2-meter repeater up on Pinkham. That's good for Kalispell, Libby, and everywhere around here. I've talked to Libby on it many times. The amateur club, the local amateur club, is in the process of installing a 2-meter and a 70 centimeter. That's VHF at 144 to 148 megahertz and UHF at 430 to 450 megahertz, all in one location up on Warner Peak, straight east of Olney. And that peak is 7,000 feet in the air. And if you can hit that repeater with a couple watts from Eureka on a handheld radio, and you can talk to Libby, you can talk as far south as Ronan, and everywhere in between. And they're in the process of finalizing the installation. They put up a 45-foot tower, and their repeaters will be solar battery powered. So they'll have solar panels and a charge controller and a big bank of batteries. So even if the local power goes down, that thing's going to still be on the air. Okay. So when I go out in the field and I'm carrying some kind of a radio, actually I kind of do it overkill. I carry 3 of them. And then I've got extra stuff, antennas, carry cases, and then a bag full of batteries for each one. So I've got another thing I carry is make sure you got some pens and carry a tape recorder with you. Something that you can slip in the pocket and nobody knows you're recording. When those guys walk up to your vehicle like they did to Pete's and tell you to get the heck out of there, you record that and you ask them some questions. Where's your authority for doing this? Okay, now what do you do with the information that you collect? You publicize it. You just tell everybody. And the more we know about what's going on in the valley, the safer everybody's going to be. Do you agree? Okay. And so, in my mind, covert activities usually have a nefarious purpose. If these guys up at the border, for example, are on the up and up, and they're really protecting us from drug traffic across the border, why aren't they making a real high-profile presence and communicating with the citizens of Eureka and letting everybody know that we're going to stamp out drug traffic here? But they're not doing that, are they? They're hiding in the woods. They're not offering any explanations. It's our right to know. We live here. We work here. We finance this economy in this valley. Okay? Any questions? Any